there's a knock on the door, but no one's there. So I open the door, and there was a cop here on the side of the door and a cop here, and they both kind of in unison just turned their flashlights on.
Non-apologetic nonsense.
So I'd like to introduce you to our new segment, My First Time.
It's my first time. I'm really nervous.
The first time tends to get a little messy.
So, as Freddie said, it tends to get a little messy. My first time on trial for 20 years. So, this is a story I debated on whether I should tell or not, which means you should probably tell it.
Absolutely.
If we fast forward, that's not right. If we rewind in time to about 2010, right? I'm a young dreadlocked lad working overnights at a gas station, freaking getting it, right? So I wind up buying a device called the Phototron. Now, anyone who used to read like High Times as a kid will know what the Phototron is. They always had a full page ad, and it was an all-in-one herb grow system. And it claimed you could go from 0 to flowers in 30 days. And as young, naive kids didn't understand that that's just not true. We wind up going half and half in it, right? So 500 and 500. It was like $1,000. So we get the thing, immediately realize you can't change the biology of a plant. You know, these were before autos and stuff. It's going to take 6 months, right? Regardless, we start bearing fruit with this thing, you know. So I wind up having a surplus. So I decide I'm going to start supplying my area with that surplus that I have, okay? So my thought was I keep the circle tight. Instead of me being like the guy who gives it to the end user, I'm the guy who gives it to the guy who gives it to the guy who gives it to the end user, you know? No brokies knocking on my door. So I had 3 dudes that I winded up messing with in this, right? It was my way, in case somebody ran their mouth or something, I at least had a small list to go down. But there was one more. His name was Caleb Gray. Blast him on this. So he was the dude that every once in a while, when I really needed money, I'd call up, but most of the time he'd call me and I'd just lie to him, be like, nah, I don't even do that no more, dude. I found Jesus, you know, whatever. So I needed money, and I'm like, all right, dude, go ahead and come out. So he comes out, and he's driving this giant, like, 1960s van, okay? And he parks it a little bit away from my door. I'm like, that's weird, but I didn't think too much of it. Come to find out through the court papers, there was a woman and a child laying down in the back of that van while he ran inside my house. So I give him what he wanted. He goes up the road, immediately gets pulled over. And when he gets pulled over, the police start doing that thing like, if you don't tell us, we'll, you know, take the baby or whatever. Yeah. So everybody rolls on little old me, okay? So I'm chilling in my house. It's nighttime, like 2 hours later. There's a knock on the door, but no one's there. You know, driveway's like 1/8 a mile long. There's no vehicles there. So I assume it's got to be 1 or 2 people. So I open the door, and there was a cop here on the side of the door and a cop here, and they both kind of in unison just turned their flashlights on. They had parked up the road, walked through the woods to make it to my place, right? And they're like, hey, they weren't even trying to protect the dude. They were like, yep, Caleb Gray, you know him, right? He just gave us your name, description, everything. I'm like, nope, don't know him. And they're like, well, we need to search the house. And I'm like, nah, ain't happening. So I step outside, and I think I'm slick, and I lock the door, you know, and without a key or anything. I'm like, if I can't get in, they can't get in.
Wrong.
So I'm being very difficult. And as luck would have it, my father winds up showing up while I'm in handcuffs, sitting on the porch with these 2 cops harassing me. So one of the officers tries to go to the back of the house. I don't know. He's trying to get in a window or check a door, do some shady stuff. My dad doesn't have a shirt on, and he's got a pistol in the back of his pants. And he goes into the darkness running after that cop. So the cop who was up there with me drew on my dad and was like, nah, what do you think you're going to do back there? So next thing I know, me and him are both father-son handcuffed, right? So they wind up confiscating his firearm, and they're trying to do the thing like, well, we're going to charge you with assault on an officer and da-da-da. So eventually I knew if they came in the house, they wouldn't find everything. And I was like, you know what? You uncuff him, you let him just disappear into the darkness. I'll give you what you're here for. So they wind up doing that, and then no more than like 2 minutes later, the guy winds up pulling in, and the warrant actually arrives. So it was really pointless. They could have just got everyone, said no to my proposition. So I bring him inside, and I'm sitting on my living room couch, and they're just like, stay there, right? So they're going through the whole house, and they wind up finding the Phototron with like a single plant in it, because that's all the little limited thing could handle. And then right above that, in some cabinets, they wind up finding some bagged up product. And this is a lesson to people. I was using these cut down sort of bags that no one else were using. So that made it to where they could just go, well, you have this one, and the one we took from this dude looked like this. You know what I mean? It made it to where the pieces could easily be connected. So they get the Phototron with the plant. They wind up getting a little bit of cash, and they get a little bit of product. Now, this was right above the washer and dryer, these cabinets. They missed most of the money, most of the stuff. And what's funny is they walk into my bedroom. My bedroom was trashed, right? So you could walk in, and there was the bed, like let's say right here, and the rest of the room went this direction, and it was just covered in clothes and storage and stuff tossed here and there. There were no light bulbs, nothing. There was a bathroom at the other end. Like you come in from this side, there's a bathroom at the far side. Cop opens my bedroom door, and he's like, nope. And he just turns around, right? Now, if he would
hit it all in there.
That's what I'm getting at. If he would have walked into that bathroom had the water diverted, and that's where the complete, whatever term is, that's where all of the creation of these God-given fruits were happening at. So didn't even get that. Now, I'm still in the living room on the couch, and there's stuff everywhere in this house. So like I'm trying to like kick containers of herb underneath the couch. I'm taking my phone, putting it like sliding it behind the couch so they can't get on it and start checking text messages and this and that, you know. What's funny is in Jasper County here in Missouri, they take you in, and right where they bring you in at, your intake is like your female and your male drunk take, or like the holding cells outside of general population.
Okay.
So they take me in, I'm handcuffed, and after I get processed and into the drunk tank, and there's like a window, you know, you can see everything that's going on. They wheel in all of the paraphernalia and everything from my house in a freaking shopping cart. So it's just like big bongs and the grow-offs and this, that, and everyone's fucking woo. So I get out, and I'm now facing 3 felony charges, okay? Felony possession, felony cultivation, and felony distribution, okay? So this is way before anything was legal here, you know? I mean, you would run the risk of going to jail for a J, you know, if they wanted to be dick douches about it. So this was like big boy trial. It was like you see in TV. I'm sitting at a table here. The state is sitting at a table here, and there's a jury box over here and the judge in front. Like it was like big boy, real deal Holyfield. So I got an attorney, and they keep trying to come back with a deal, a plea bargain. I know most people think like a plea bargain means you told, which I'm sure it could, but really a plea bargain is, hey, plead guilty to one of your charges. We'll drop the others so we don't have to go through this whole charade. Yeah. So they come at me with like crazy deals. Like, okay, we'll drop 1 and you'll plead guilty to 2 and you'll only do like 9 years. And I'm like, what? Because they were trying to say 7 years for each charge. So 7, 14, 21 years. Yeah. And this is crazy. I'm just like, no, not happening. Luckily, I had a good enough lawyer that we're in like week 3 or week 4 of this freaking trial. And they wind up coming to me and they gave me paperwork and it said, we'll drop 2 of the 3 charges, only leave you with felony possession, and you'll do 5 years instead of 7. And the way it works is like you go in front of the judge. I accept this deal. I know what's in it. And then they take you right into custody and you start your sentence. So they give us the paperwork. I'm in a little room on the side of the courtroom. And my lawyer is like, sign it. No, I'm not going to go do, if I sign this piece of paper, I'm going to jail for 5 years as a felon. I'm not doing that. And he goes, you have to trust me. I'm like, what does this mean? You know, and he's like, I can't say anything. You will go home tonight. You have to sign this. So I'm like being tortured right now thinking, is he fucking me? Is somebody else fucking me? Because this piece of paper says if I sign it, I'm doing 5 years and it starts now. You know what I mean? Like, what would you do? Lawyer says, now I've dealt with this lawyer. I've known him for years, but he says, trust me, you won't go to jail today.
What about tomorrow?
Well, like, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah.
Because
probably.
Bear in mind,
want me to trust him.
You've already gotten several deals. They're extremely worse, and you're in the middle of like a trial that if you're found guilty, you could be gone for decades.
I'd probably sign it. I would sign it. There's no problem. Yeah, the deals aren't going to get any better. And if, like I say, you dealt with the guy before.
Yeah, several times. He worked my DWI's possession charges when I was a child.
I would trust him. And if he fucking failed me, God help him.
Burn his freaking house down.
I'll see you in 5 years, buddy.
So this is what happens. That's exactly what happened. Said, fucking trusting you, dude, you know? So we go into the little room with the attorneys for the county or the state. I sign the piece of paper. So I'm pleading guilty to felony possession, and they're dropping the other 2 charges, but I will be a felon, and I'm about to go do 5 years. So I'm standing there in front of the judge, right? And judge is like, do you understand this? You understand what's about to happen? And I'm like, yeah, I get it. And they're like, okay, because they have a choice to accept or reject your plea, the judge. Judge goes, okay, I accept your plea. And then my attorney stands up and he goes, Your Honor, I'd like to move that he be submitted to the first-time felon program in Missouri and his sentence be converted to SIS, suspended imposition of sentencing. So at this point, the guys from the state jump up and they're objecting. You know, they're getting all upset. Turns out the lawyer had this plan the whole time and he had already met with the judge about accepting me into the first-time felon program. He just pulled a whoopsie-doozy to the state. So the state thought I was signing something that was going to put me in jail for 5 years and get me as a felon. In reality, the deal he made with the judge was first-time felon program in Missouri. I would get 5 years probation. As long as I didn't mess up that probation, I wouldn't do any time. But let's say 2 years in, I mess up, then I would go do 3 years and the felony would stick. But if I made it through the entire 5 years, they would drop the felony. First-time felon program. So that's exactly what happened, except at first I didn't take the probation seriously. Like, they give me the sentencing and they're like, okay, you need to go report to your new probation officer right now. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it in a few days, you know. And I can remember going in there and they were so mad. So I wound up having to do UAs every week, meet with the guy, but the guy had a bunch of, the probation officer, a bunch of Journey, like the band Journey, stickers and stuff all over his little cubicle. So I started researching Journey like I was a fan. And I would go in and I'd be like, dude, I burnt you this DVD. Have you seen it? This is a rare Honolulu performance from 1924. And, you know, so
24.
we winded up relating to that, and he signed off for me to get off of paper like 3 years into this, 4 years into it, I'm not sure. But the felony got buried. The charge isn't even there, and it can't be found. No one can find this. It is really gone. That is a hell of a feeling, though, standing there in front of a judge, not knowing if you're literally facing 2 decades of your life over some freaking herbal gerbils.
Right.
You know, picture that taking the chance of losing 2 decades of your life over something so stupid. That's legal now.
Yeah.
That the cop wouldn't even arrest you for, well, maybe one of those, but it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But yeah, that was, screw that all the fuck. I was going to do a nice outro there, and then I hit the wrong button.
Looks like you're just going to do a lot of fucking editing.
I always do. But yeah, so that was my time facing 20 years in the very first installment of our new segment.
It's my first time. I'm really nervous.
The first time tends to get a little messy.
That's right. I cut together Futurama and Freddy Krueger. So, next time, we'll tell you about one of Thomas's first time. Like the first time he had sex with a man. Good night, everyone.